it is yet another day of tragedy on our roads. 6 people today lost their lives this morning in a road accident on the Kisumu-Kakamega road.
A pickup truck collided with a public service vehicle that was transporting a body and a group of mourners. KTN's Francis Ontomwa has that story.
A devastating Monday morning. Residents of Muraka village in Kakamega witnessing the gory sight of what became the remains of the vehicles from a grisly road accident that claimed 6 lives. Yet another bigger setback for one family that was traveling from Kakamega to Ikolomani to lay to rest a loved one. The journey ending here just minutes after leaving Kakamega General Hospital mortuary. Remains of the late Mary Obembe's coffin evidencing of how things rudely fell apart.
A pickup ilikuwa imetoka side za Kakamega, imetoka kuchukua mwili wa mama ambaye ilikuwa inapelekwa upande wa Museno, na basi ambalo limehusika katika ajali lilikuwa limetoka upande wa Butere linaelekea Kakamega.
Hiyo pickup ilikuwa inataka kuovertake hiyo umoja, so umoja haikuwa na place ya kuishia na zilikuwa gari 3, taxi na hiyo pickup na hiyo ingine.
The pickup carrying the corpse collided head-on with an oncoming minibus that was ferrying passengers from Butere to Kakamega. The driver of the pickup who also perished in the tragedy is said to have tried to overtake another vehicle at a sharp bend, occasioning the crash. 5 died on the spot, while 1 person died as he was receiving treatment in Kakamega.
Tulikuwa tumevuta huo mto Isioko kupitia barabara ya lami kuelekea upande wa Kayeka. Sasa kufikia pale gari ilitoka mbele, hata sijui nini ilifanyika, yetu ikaingia kwa hiyo gari.
At the Kakamega Provincial Hospital, it was a beehive of activities as doctors and nurses fought to save lives as many as possible. 34 victims who suffered different levels of injuries were admitted here, with some later discharged after short examination.
We lost 6 of them. 2 of them who died while receiving treatment. 1 died on arrival to casualty, and 3 died on the spot.
The accident paralyzed things for some time along the busy highway as police tried to move away the wreckages of the 2 vehicles. Law enforcers say this section of the road has been quite a headache in the recent times.
It was a midday journey that ended abruptly here along the Kisumu-Kakamega highway. The littered road giving evidence of a devastating ordeal. Francis Ontomwa, KTN, Kakamega.
Sad story from the west. Now from Kakamega, let's go to the county of Kwale, where 2 community leaders were last night killed in cold blood in an incident that has left residents in fear. The 2 were shot at close range. It was later established that they were killed within seconds of each other in what was a well-orchestrated crime. KTN's Edith Kimani reports.
It is almost as though time is frozen at Hamisi Bakari's homestead. No one dares move. And once every few minutes, a sharp cry from the house startles everyone back to life. Fatuma Shafi has hardly stopped crying since armed gunmen came to her house at midnight and called to her husband by his name.
Wakaanza kumpiga. Wakapiga. Risasi ya mwanzo, ya pili, ya tatu, ya 4. Kulikuwa na mtoto wa ndani akalia, mama, baba yuwawa. Naomba nyamaza mwanangu, wenye wafanye kazi yao. Akufa kwa haraka. Wakampiga tena ya kichwa. Ikatoka paka kwa sikio na nyama. Akaanguka flight.
400 meters away, a similar story is being retold in harsh tones. Asha Moyo tells how her husband, Kasim Salim Kuchengwa, was met with no mercy when he walked out of his house when unknown people called to him too.
Hii iliyopita ameniambia bibi yangu mimi nitakufa. Kwa hiyo nakwambia jifundishe kuchuma. Naomba bwana ananiambia nakwambia na mwambie basi kama kuchuma mpaka watoto tutamwambia pia nao wafanyaje? Watafute vibarua ananiambia waambie. Jamani babangu baba.
The 2 killings happened within minutes of each other, both men sustaining close-range gunshot wounds in the chest and head. Police now say investigations are ongoing, but residents here suspect the nature of the 2 slain men's jobs might be the first clue.
One of them is the chairman of community policing. The other one is a member of the vetting committee.
Wakati watu wanaingia kwa nyumba wanaona mtu na wanamjua, you need a lot of investigation kujua ni kwa nini, what was it.
One of the families, however, cannot wait for investigations. Once more, mourners here go into a trance and time is once again frozen, save for a few who are already preparing the inevitable. Edith Kimani, KTN.
The Kenya County Government Workers Union has threatened to stop the biometric registration process launched by the Ministry of Devolution. The union says that the government intends to use the process to retrench thousands of civil servants. Well, this comes as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was awarded the tender to conduct the exercise for civil servants, teachers, and those in the military.
Solidarity forever. The song that symbolizes trouble ahead. The civil servants' biometric registration process has already been met with resistance barely a day since its launch.
And we'll do what it takes, including industrial action, including going to court, including seeking the support of all the workers in this republic to reject such irrational decisions. Or to hijack in laying off of workers through illegitimate means.
According to the Kenya County Government Workers Union, it is almost impossible to expect civil servants to meet the requirements set out for the registration process. Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru says in order to be registered, a civil servant must have his or her identification card, birth certificate, and letter of appointment.
It says if you don't have your original letter of employment, which you may have got 37 years ago, all of a sudden you are a ghost worker because you don't have the original one.
Instead, the union is demanding that civil servants use their driver's license to register into the biometric system. If that fails, they also suggest that the government performs DNA tests for verification, never mind the sheer expense the taxpayer would incur.
It is not rational. This we say no to it. First of all, proof. If I claim to work for the city county government for 32 years, surely those things cannot be doubted. It requires what? A phone call to the head of department.
But the government is categorical that the system has to be foolproof and leave no room for corruption.
As you know, ghost workers are just that. They are ghosts in the sense that they don't exist. So it's not like you can catch them. What we want to do is get rid of them from the system because they exist in the system, but they do not exist physically. And that's why we are doing the biometric registration. But the action will be taken against the people who have actually been entering those names in the system.
Despite the opposition by the Kenya County Government Workers Union to the process, the Ministry of Devolution is by no means slowing down.
We were told to do the audit between us and the National Treasury. So the advert was there, the procurement process went on, it was outsourced to the external parties. We did not procure any kits. We borrowed the kits from IEBC. So we are using borrowed kits for the registration exercise.
The process will not just target civil servants, but also the country's 240,000 plus teachers and military officers. Catherine Omwanto, KTN.
On this second day of September 2014, the second president of the Republic of Kenya, Daniel Arap Moi, has turned 90 today.
And as he marked his big day, the statesman was joined in celebration by leaders from the business and political sectors.
Guests paid tribute to a man whose presidency was marked by an unforgettable hands-on approach for 24 years.
While speaking during his birthday, Moi advised leaders to focus on making the lives of Kenyan citizens better.
Pomp and color marked the celebrations here at Kabarak University grounds on this one special day. A day that the second president of Kenya marked his 90th birthday. Guests from all sectors of Kenyan society and beyond joined President Moi's friends and family in honor of Kenya's long-serving leader.
We are happy for your special day.
The entertainment unfolded from Moi Kabarak ECD to Kabarak University students.
Bless our happily wedded couples, Moi Arap Chebi and Kabon Chebi. not with a cow, not with a car, but a bouncing baby boy.
Guests present took the opportunity to shower Mzee Moi with gifts. Standard Group CEO Sam Sholei led the group's senior management in handing Mzee Moi a life history souvenir.
A book that captures the history of your life, which is also the history of our country since your days as a private person. The first picture I've seen in that book, Your Excellency, is a picture of you as a PE teacher.
Sholei also read out excerpts of tributes from world leaders on His Excellency the Second President.
President Moi, we are the 1924 boys, but you outsprinted all of us on your foresight and unique leadership qualities and style. I thank you, and all the world thanks you.
On his part, Moi expressed his gratitude for the occasion, noting that he owes all his achievements and strength to God. He urged Kenyans to unite and warned leaders against political quarrels.
And now I was laughing when 2 days ago somebody said to go to Kenya.
Moi earlier on planted one commemorative tree near President Daniel Moi Library and also unveiled the 90th birthday celebration pillar.
Months, and told us that this monument or the emblem with the pure bronze will last for 600 years.
Moi served Kenya as second president for 24 years. It was one colorful ceremony as the second president of Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi, Kenya's long-serving president, marks 90th birthday, an event that both the young and the old thronged to witness the country's eldest statesman. Clock close to a century. Kamche Menza, KTN, from Kabarak in Nakuru County.
Now, Daniel Arap Moi's presidency not only touched the lives of Kenyans, but it was also felt across the region as he made invaluable contributions to regional peace and security. Here's a sneak peek into the documentary coming up this week on President Moi's 90th birthday.
Like a political giraffe who can see ahead and see any dangers that are coming and be able to avoid them.
Three things: peace, love, and unity. There can never be understanding without love for humanity.
Alitufundisha mambo ya discipline, akatufundisha mambo ya punctuality katika kazi, akatufundisha ukarimu. Manake ni mtu mkarimu sana. Hata mimi sija kutana na mtu mkarimu kuliko.
Unayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote.
I met President Moi for the first time in July 1978. That was in Khartoum when he went to attend the AU summit. It was then called OAU, and I happened to be one of the security officers protecting the president.
When he was vice president, I was a student in the University of Dar es Salaam. Mzee Moi was a man of the people, the smaller people. It was like a disciplinarian type, school teacher type.
When he was our chairman, what he did was clearly upright, clearly correct. And that's how we followed his footsteps when he was, before he left the chairmanship, when he became chairman, when he left the chairmanship, all the time, Daniel Moi's leadership was good. Something that we appreciated greatly.
Aliakomendate kazi yangu. Leo katika president zote za Kenya, nikiambiwa rudi kwa kuwa escort commander ya Moi, I will go because he had a focus, a vision, and he did not interfere with my work.
He maintained stability in Kenya for a long time. That's why we were running to Kenya. That's why we were going there as refugees, because there was peace.
From 92 up to 2005 was a very long period. But President Moi never got tired.
In Africa today, maybe not in our lifetime, this continent will be one of the richest continents. And I hope that our partners for development and for the improvement of the well-being of members of human race, not of black people or white people, of all people in the world, we all speak with one voice.
I wish President Moi a very, very happy birthday. And I pray that God gives him more life, and so that we get more wisdom from him.
You do not want to miss that documentary by KTN's Zubeda Kome. Make sure you watch it on KTN this Saturday starting at 6:30 p.m. We also spoke to a cross-section of Kenyans to find out what they remember about President Moi's tenure. Take a look.
I remember him for the famous slogan, siasa mbaya maisha mbaya.
Kwa tunakunywa maziwa ya Nyayo wakati huo, lakini sasa hii haipatikana.
Mtu ni mzee wa heshima. Na namkumbuka kwa sababu wakati wa KANU mimi nilikuwa mwana youth wakati huo. Na hata tutatembeleaga kwake tukiwa vijana wa youth.
Kiongozi shupafu. Ninaweza sema ya kwamba hata maisha yalikuwa nyepesi kidogo.
I came here, Kenya has changed a lot because of him. So I would like to say happy birthday Moi.
Mzee ambaye amemfanyia kazi serikali hii ya Kenya.
You're watching KTN Prime. We thank you for staying with us. Remember, our hashtag tonight is Moi turns 90. Now, here's the thing. I need you to listen to two songs. By the time these songs are being composed, some of you are either very young or not even born yet. And Thomas Wasonga, the man who composed those songs, is in studio with me. Mwalimu, thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime. Look at you back then and right now. What goes through your mind when you listen to those songs?
I feel very proud and I'm very thankful, first of all, to God, because it is long since they were composed. It is almost 30 years ago.
How did it all start? How did you start composing this many songs?
The process was coincidental because especially when President Moi took over, I was a teacher somewhere in Siaya County, and I was training. I was not doing patriotic songs, but I was a teacher and also a church choir master. I was dealing with church music, and but then when he took over in 1978, he was to travel and visit the county. During that time, it was a district, Siaya district. So the social development officer requested him that besides composing, singing spiritual songs, can you also compose a song?
The president is coming.
Yeah. Yes, so I composed a song, Tawala Kenya, but I composed a song, Kenya yetu inchi nzuri. Kenya yetu inchi nzuri, inchi yako inchi yangu, twaipenda daima. Then, after composing that song, the president was to come. But we had some national day. I presented it to the district level, and people really loved the song.
Did the president show up?
No. He was yet to come.
Okay.
Yes. So then, when they liked the song, then I had something from inside that why can't I also compose a song about him? I had not seen him before, and that is now in 1979. Early, I composed Tawala Kenya, and the president was to come. He came to Kisumu, but he did not reach Siaya, so he never had it. So, but later on, I got transferred in 1980 and went to teach in Mombasa. So he had it after 5 years.
After you composed it?
Yes, and it was not intentionally composed for him to listen to it, but it was for the public.
All right, so you've composed so many patriotic songs. Where were you getting the inspiration from? Because they were on different topics. The president, the country.
The inspiration was being caused by what was happening by then. Because, first of all, the patriotic songs about the President Moi was happening because of what he was doing. He was traveling all over the country. He was preaching peace. He was talking of unity amongst communities. He was presiding over development projects, raising funds for schools, churches, and many other things. And this is what made me now start thinking about why can't we talk about what he is doing.
So did you ever meet the retired president?
During that time, not. When I composed that song, I had not met him. I met him after, I think, about 6 years later. Yes.
How and where did you meet him?
Now, I've just mentioned that I got transferred. I went now to teach in Mombasa, and that's when now we formed a teachers' choir of about 200 teachers, and also we were training mass choirs of about 2,000, and these mass choirs were being used when the president comes to visit Mombasa during shows and the New Year. We were welcoming him with these songs, and it happened when he was opening Bima House, is when our choir, the teachers, Mombasa Teachers Choir, was invited, and we sang for him. We did not sing Tawala Kenya, we sang the other song, Twajivunia Inchi ya Kenya, and others. Also, there was also another one that was talking about discouraging people of over drinking, because during that time he was campaigning a lot about people not
drinking. What was his reaction when he listened to your song?
He was so happy with our choir and with the message that we are talking about, the topical messages. And he asked the choir to sing 3 times during the same function. We sang and again, sang and again, sang.
So the retired president is turning 90 today. If
Yes.
there's one thing that you can remember about him, what would that be?
He was a great leader. First of all, he was a very generous person. He was a peace-loving person. And he was a development-conscious person. And he also liked the youth, because he's saying these are the leaders of tomorrow. And during that time, I was also a youth. So I was encouraged. Yes.
All right. Mwalimu Thomas Wasonga, thank you so much for speaking to us on KTN Prime. Mwalimu has been explaining to us how he composed these songs, the different songs that he composed. And of course, just looking back at the years of retired President Daniel Arap Moi.
U.S. President Barack Obama today reached out to West Africans hit hard by the Ebola outbreak, promising that his government is doing everything possible to help stop the deadly virus.
Here's Obama's public service announcement released by the White House.
This disease won't be easy, but we know how to do it. You are not alone. Together we can treat those who are sick with respect and dignity. We can save lives, and our countries can work together to improve public health so this kind of outbreak doesn't happen again. In this urgent work, and in building a stronger and more prosperous Africa, you'll continue to have a partner in me and in the United States of America.
The Nairobi Securities Exchange initial public offer has generated investor interest, with the share offer oversubscribed by 663.9%. NSC was offering 66 million shares to the public at 9 shillings and 50 cents, but investors applied for 504.2 million shares, valued at 4.8 billion shillings. It has been 5 years since the last IPO was held and could explain the investor appetite for the offer. The Nairobi Securities Exchange will take up the 627 million shillings it was seeking to raise the fund product, innovation and expansion into new markets. In a statement, BOSE Chairman Edin Njoroge says investors will be allocated the minimum 500 shares applied. Thereafter, they will receive new shares in multiples of 100 offer shares on a pro rata basis, rounded down to the nearest 100 offer shares until all offer shares have been fully exhausted. The IPO was part of the demutualization of the NSC, with the shares expected to start trading on September 9th. And on to tourism. The tourism sector is facing perhaps its worst year in history as tourist numbers drop. Insecurity has been at the center of the sector's misfortunes that has led to travel advisories that ultimately led to fewer arrivals. KTN's Phil Keitani took a trip down to the Kenyan coast that has been hardest hit and brings a story of how an industry is clutching at straws trying to remain open.
To say that the tourism sector is in dire strain will not begin to paint a picture of just how bad the current situation is.
The situation is pathetic. Things are not working well in the coast region generally in terms of workers. If things don't change, if the government don't take what everyone is saying seriously, then that could lead to downsizing or could lead to loss of jobs.
The month of March has been the onset of what has been the worst years of Kenya's tourism sector. Scenes of tourists cutting short their holidays and heading back home marked the lowest point of the industry.
That thing is actually that we don't expect it to improve very soon.
August is normally Kenya's high season, but most hotels at the coast are currently operating at less than 25% occupancy rate, and at least 20% of the mostly adversely affected hotels have shut down. In May, industry insiders estimated the effects of travel advisories placed on Kenya by the UK, US, France and Australia will punch a 5 million shillings hole in country's economy. The government has been clutching on straws trying to get the sector back on its feet, but the Tourism Recovery Task Force now says it has received funds to facilitate its activities and has unveiled short, medium and long-term tourism recovery plans.
How much money do we need? We need a lot of money because it is not just for 1 year. We're looking at this as a longer period.
But even as questions are raised about the declining performance of the sector, the big question has to be, has there been over-investment in the sector as the coastal region? The number of visitors visiting the beaches of Mombasa has reduced drastically, leaving the locals feeling hopeless as their source of livelihood is diminishing. Philip Kaitan, KTN from Mombasa.
Thanks, Phil. Now, 25 million shillings. This is the new price tag that anyone wanting to set up a brokerage firm will pay to get a license. The price is a huge discount from the previous 252 million shillings that was paid by the 22 brokerage firms that owned the NSC until now. And as Adelaide Changole reports, this is expected to spark competition, giving investors better returns.
Until July, any person wanting to set up a stock brokerage firm in Kenya had to part with 252 million shillings to get a license from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The high price tag ensured that very few firms could participate, giving the 22 brokerage firms an undue advantage. But efforts to boost corporate governance and spur market development and reforms through the demutualization and eventual self-listing of the bourse have come with a new surprise for both investors and brokers.
One of the conditions to demutualization, we were able to push down the minimum access figure to become a broker at the Nairobi Securities Exchange to 25 million. That's a very significant difference.
The move is part of efforts to increase transparency in the capital markets and foster greater competition that will deepen the market, boost equity market capitalization from the current 2.2 trillion shillings to 5.6 trillion in the next 10 years and make Kenya an attractive investment destination. But while the bar has been lowered for brokerage firms, brokers operating in the country will face even more stringent requirements going forward. The Capital Markets Authority says it will introduce minimum certification standards for brokers to ensure they have the wherewithal to manage money effectively.
Any individual who is operating within a broker's office will need to be certified to be of a certain minimum competency if they're having client contact, so that we're confident that we're dealing with people who not only have the knowledge but also have the capacity to give our investors guidance and clarity.
CMS says it will partner with the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment CISI and the Kenya Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks KASIB to develop the minimum licensing standards that will be applicable to all brokers as part of efforts to create a skilled pool of capital markets operators needed to support the growth of the domestic and regional markets. Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
We kick off the bulletin on a rally note where the 62nd edition of the KCB Safari Rally will be flagged off on the 16th of this month, with 62 drivers having shown interest to take part in the championships. Meanwhile, Kenya hopes to achieve World Rally Championship standards at the Nanyuki Rally, with hopes of getting an inclusion in the World Rally Championships calendar in 2017.
Kenya is putting up proper structures to ensure that they bid for the World Rally Championship status in 2017. This was brought to the fore during the launch of the 62nd edition of the KCB Rally Championships, a race that will traverse 3 counties, Nairobi, Kiambu, as well as Laikipia. The championships have proved to be a huge hit for rally enthusiasts, and the organizers as well as the Rally Federation believe they can prevail upon the World Rally organizers to consider Kenya in their calendar.
We will really want to grow the sport and make it an international event, and that can only happen with the support of our spectators, our fans, and also our own personal behalf as drivers and navigators to set a good example on the roads.
The loss of Weldegard is a big loss for Kenya because the man just loved the Safari Rally. He was our biggest ambassador out there. Whenever Weldegard went to participate in a European event like the Eiffel Rally or at Goodwood Festival of Speed, he was always wearing a Safari Rally cap.
A total of 62 drivers will take part in this edition in what has been dubbed as the toughest rally in their calendar. However, with past incidences of fans misbehaving and endangering their lives, the organizers will put up stringent measures and have warned fans to be careful while following the proceedings.
Keep safe, don't try and copy or imitate what we are doing on public roads, because the speed guns will be out there. Mutundo is also out there waiting for you. And as you see, we will really want to grow the sport and make it an international event, and that can only happen with the support of our spectators, our fans, and also our own personal behalf as drivers and navigators to set a good example on the road.
Cars will romp off at the KICC on day 1 and will tackle 25-kilometer of transport section through Migao Farm, where they will do 7.5-kilometer stage. There will be a second service at Solio after the drivers have covered a painstaking total distance of 175 kilometers. Some of the big guns expected to give drivers a run for the money include Baltev Chaga, Ian Duncan, who will be making a comeback after skipping the Nanyuki rally. Carl Flash Tunde will be in attendance, as well as Kisumu-based Jasprit Chate, who is leading the KNRC series and who will be seeking to protect his reputation as the ARC Tanzania rally winner.
Besides aiming at producing world beaters, the Moi Classic Marathon, through its motto inspiring a generation, hopes to continue improving education standards in Moi constituency and its environs from its proceeds. The 6th edition of the marathon will be held on the 6th of September, with the 21-kilometer race set to start and end at the Moi Secondary School. For the 6th year running, residents of Moi County will welcome the annual Moi Classic Marathon that has graced their rice plantations since the year 2009. Started with an aim to improve education standards in the county, the race has continued to change the lives of young people around the county. This year's race will be run under the theme Inspiring a Generation.
We've had a very big impact on the education standards. Of course, we don't have all the bragging rights to this. But when we started off on the marathon, I think in where we only used to take about 2 students to university. As at now, we take over 100 students to university.
The race is yet to blossom into a full marathon, and the local organizing committee hopes to expand its wings to different countries and increase the number of participants every year.
In the next 5 years, we see ourselves as being a Moi Kirinyaga County Marathon. We see the number of runners expanding from the current 3,000 to about 5,000 to 10,000.
Over 500,000 Kenya shillings will be up for grabs, and both the elite as well as the local winners will be awarded. The registration is 1,000 Kenya shillings for adults and 200 Kenya shillings for students.
You need to have been training for the last 2 months, and you train about an hour every day. And of course, you need to really have the right sports gear, so we ask people to check on their sports gears.
Former world marathon record holder Patrick Macau, who is the race patron, will be skipping the competition, but he will be fielding a team of 10 athletes.
I'm hoping the courses to be broken on that day, since I've talked with my colleagues, the ones I train with. I've conducted a very, very nice training